Crimea. For Moscow, it is an unsinkable aircraft carrier, the fortress anchoring its dominance over the Black Sea. For Kiev, it is a dagger pointed at its southern flank and a high-value target that must be isolated. In the summer of 2026, the Kremlin made a critical move. Hoping to reinforce their thinning air umbrella, the Russian aerospace forces deployed a fresh squadron of advanced Su-30 SM twin-engine fighters directly to the Saki military airfield in western Crimea. It was a show of strength. But Ukraine was watching. Through a combination of Western satellite imagery and deep network human intelligence, Kiev knew the exact moment these multi-role jets touched down on the tarmac. They didn't wait for them to scramble. Instead, they launched an audacious multi-layered strike that would expose the fundamental flaws in Russia's integrated air defense network. This wasn't just a drone attack, it was a masterclass in modern electronic warfare and asymmetric CA'd suppression of enemy air defenses. Today we break down the tactical brilliance, the calculated sacrifices, and the precise geometric maneuvers behind the night Saki airfield burned. It is 4:14 hours local time. Under the cover of pre-dawn darkness, a secret launch site near the port city of Odessa roars to life. 12 Ukrainian FP-2 heavy kamikaze UAV lift off simultaneously. These are not your off-the-shelf quadcopters. They are long-range carbon fiber strike drones carrying a 220-pound high explosive warhead guided by a sophisticated mix of GPS-resilient inertial navigation and low-light thermal imaging sensors. Their target Saki airfield over 180 miles away across the black waters of the sea. 40 miles out from the Crimean coast, the first wall of Russia's fortress awaits. At Olenivka, an S-400 Triumph missile battery, Russia's premier long-range anti-aircraft system, is on high alert. The battery's 91N6E Big Bird surveillance radar sweeps the horizon. Suddenly, 12 distinct low-radar cross-section blips flash across the Russian operator's console. On paper, this is a completely uneven match. The S-400 unit commands dozens of 9M96E2 interceptor missiles capable of traveling at Mach 3 with a range of nearly 75 miles. The Russian crew is confident. To them, 12 cheap drones are nothing more than target practice. But what they failed to realize was that they were playing right into a meticulously timed trap. The northern group, comprised of 3 FP-2 drones, initiates the opening gambit, pushing their internal combustion engines to maximum throttle. They climb sharply to an altitude of 2,000 feet, deliberately magnifying their radar cross-sections. Simultaneously, they activate onboard electronic warfare pods, emitting an intense electromagnetic screech that floods the Russian radar screens within a 15-mile radius. To the S-400 operators, this group looks like the primary vanguard of a major cruise missile strike. While the Russian combat crew locks their eyes on the northern distraction, the middle group of 3 drones adopts a completely different profile. They drop down to a mere 350 feet, skimming over the central Black Sea, holding a rigid, silent line towards Saki. To the south, the third group throws another curveball into the tactical equation. They loop deep into the open waters, banking away from Saki and heading toward empty coastline. Under intense pressure, a radar operator must prioritize targets based on their perceived threat level and trajectory. This southern group looks chaotic, irrational, perhaps a malfunction or a secondary strike on Sevastopol, but the real threat is invisible. The final group of 3 FP-2 drones dips to an astonishing 100 feet above the water. They cut their speed to the absolute minimum, blending directly into the sea clutter. The salty spray, the cresting waves, and the low reflection angle turn them into ghosts on the Russian monitors. They are the reserve hammer waiting for the gate to open. 39M96E2 missiles erupt from their canisters, illuminating the Crimean sky with columns of blinding white flame. Within 6 seconds, guided by the S-400's Gravestone fire control radar, they accelerate past Mach 3, locking onto the high-flying northern drone group. Inside the Ukrainian command post, back in Odessa, operators monitor the telemetry. As the missiles enter their terminal homing phase, their active X-band radar seekers switch on, painting the northern drones with dense pulses of tracking energy. This is the exact trigger the Ukrainian operators were waiting for. The 3 northern drones immediately push their noses down into a violent 60-degree dive toward the sea surface. Frustrated, the Russian command center orders a wider net. They scramble the surveillance assets of another battery near Sevastopol to reacquire the vanished southern drone group. Through aggressive filtering, the phased array antennas pick them up again, slow, but still tracking toward the target. The southern group had executed a calculated dogleg maneuver, conserving fuel while dragging Russian attention away from the central axis. But as the surviving Ukrainian drone force crosses into western Crimean airspace at 0435 hours, they hit the second more dangerous layer of the network, the S-350 Vitias. Unlike the long-range S-400, the S-350 is a modern medium-range system specifically optimized to counter high-volume saturation strikes, cruise missiles, and low-flying UAVs. Its 50N6E multifunction radar is lethal. The Vitia's combat crew doesn't hesitate. 4 9M96 interceptor missiles launch in rapid succession. The S-350 crew employs a superior tactic. They do not loft their missiles. Instead, the interceptors fly a flat horizontal trajectory hugging the terrain. More importantly, these missiles act as forward-deployed sensor nodes, data linking what they see back to the ground station, effectively bypassing the radar shadows created by the curvature of the Earth. The Ukrainian drones are caught in the open. The first FP-2 is obliterated in a cloud of shrapnel. The second banks hard to the right, but the proximity fuse triggers tearing its carbon fiber fuselage to pieces. With 5 drones remaining, the Ukrainian lead controller makes a desperate tactical call. He dives the entire formation into a deep, jagged ravine carving through the coastal mountain range. The outer layers have failed. The gate to Saki airfield is breached, and the remaining Ukrainian drones are now inside the inner defensive perimeter. The final line of defense rests on the shoulders of the Panzer S-1 point defense system stationed right at the edge of the tarmac. The Panzer is Russia's ultimate insurance policy, a self-propelled vehicle combining radar-guided missiles and twin 30mm automatic cannons designed specifically for close-in weapon engagement. The Panzer's target acquisition radar locks onto the incoming targets 4 miles out, altitude 400 feet, speed 110 miles per hour. The crew fires 257 E6 hypervelocity missiles. The first drone leading the charge toward the runway is blown apart. The second drone, angling for the aircraft parking aprons, tries to drop altitude, but at this close range, the Panzer's missile is too fast. Another explosion rocks the perimeter. Now only 3 drones remain. The distance is less than a mile. Missiles are no longer viable. The minimum engagement zone has been bypassed. The Panzer crew chief orders a switch to the twin 30mm 2A38M cannons. With a combined rate of fire of 5,000 rounds per minute, the cannons open up, spewing a torrent of high-explosive incendiary rounds into the night. A wall of lead and tracer fire lights up the sky over Saki, creating a deadly net. The Ukrainian drone opens its throttle, accelerating straight down the Panzer's throat. A final desperate burst of 30mm fire passes just inches over the drone's chassis. The drone's nose camera captures a split-second view of the Panzer's radar dish and missile tubes before slamming directly into the command cabin. The 220-pound warhead detonates with catastrophic force. The blast rips through the Panzer's electronics bay, instantly blinding the system. The cannons fall silent. Saki airfield is completely uncovered, with the Panzer burning the sky belongs to Ukraine. The remaining 2 drones, followed closely by the final reserve cell that had slipped through the chaos undetected, find their targets completely unmolested. They don't target random buildings, they aim for the heart of Saki's offensive power, the newly arrived squadron of Su-30 SM fighters, parked in the open-air maintenance hangars and auxiliary aprons. The first FP2 plunges at a 40-degree angle through the thin sheet metal roof of the northern hangar row. The explosion ruptures the fuel lines of a fully loaded Su-30 SM. A massive fireball erupts, blowing the hangar doors off their hinges and sending a column of flame 130 feet into the sky. The next drones strike the technical supply depots and mobile refueling trucks parked nearby. The secondary explosions are devastating. Hundreds of gallons of high-octane aviation fuel ignite, turning the maintenance sector into a literal furnace. The extreme heat exceeding 1,000 degrees Celsius warps the specialized aluminum alloys of neighboring jets, melts complex cockpit electronics, and detonates stored air-to-air munitions. By dawn, this strike sent a chilling message to Moscow. No matter how many advanced fighters or SAM batteries you deploy to Crimea, the fortress is no longer safe. What do you think? Was this a failure of Russian technology or a brilliant display of Ukrainian asymmetric warfare? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep military analysis. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next briefing.